Sean Diddy Combs heads to New York for day one of what's expected to be an 8-week trial on sex trafficking charges.
500 bodegas will soon be equipped with panic buttons to keep workers safe and put a stop to crime.
And New Yorkers react to the new American Pope.
These stories and more coming up on CJS News. Good afternoon. I'm Ileana Xaras.
And I'm CJ Haddad. Thanks for watching CJS News. Our top stories today. Stocks are surging, and the Dow is up more than 1,000 points after China and the U.S. agreed today to pause their trade war. Starting Wednesday, the two sides will suspend most of their tariffs for 90 days and take more time to negotiate trade policy. Global markets have been in turmoil, companies telling shareholders to expect uncertainty. General Motors, Volvo, and JetBlue all pulled back their guidance for the fiscal year, meaning for 2025, it's unclear for now what range of earnings they might be able to return to shareholders. Mattel, the owner of Barbie, also withdrew its own year-long forecast, but the toy maker did say that price hikes are coming to some products. Shares of Snap took a dive off their April 30th earnings release after the company didn't give guidance for the next quarter. The social media company, whose earnings are driven in large part from ad sales, said it's unclear how economic uncertainty will affect that demand. Back in D.C., the Federal Reserve continues to hold interest rates steady, but Fed Chair Jerome Powell says tough times may be ahead.
If the large increases in tariffs that have been announced are sustained, they're likely to generate a rise in inflation, a slowdown in economic growth, and an increase in unemployment.
And in terms of trade, the U.S. and the U.K. announced their own deal this week. While it offers some tariff relief on cars, steel, and aluminum, imports are still facing a 10% tax.
The man believed to be the last surviving Israeli hostage held by Hamas has been released. Idan Alexander, who was born in Israel and grew up in New Jersey, was handed over to the Red Cross in Gaza. Alexander is a member of the Israeli Defense Force. He was one of more than 200 people taken hostage on October 7, 2023. Hamas said it was releasing him as a goodwill gesture.
Back home, recent radar blackouts and air traffic controller shortages at Newark Airport are leaving travelers worried. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says air travel is safe, but he's concerned about the country's outdated air traffic equipment. Multiple equipment outages hit Newark's control tower this week, caused by aging technology that officials say needs to be overhauled.
FedEx 1989, I hand you off here. Our scopes just went black again. If you care about this, contact your airline and try to get some pressure for them to fix this stuff. New York departure now, 120.8.
120.8, sorry to hear about that. FedEx 1989, switching, good luck, guys.
The FAA slowed down Newark's air traffic to ensure safety after the incidents, which have led to hundreds of delays and cancellations. The airport's also down one runway because of an ongoing construction project. Back in March, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy unveiled a plan to overhaul air traffic control systems, but the plan doesn't say how the government will pay for the new equipment.
When we take a look at that system, no doubt it is antiquated, it's old, it's anywhere from 25 to 30 years old. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. We're using floppy disks in our system. We have headphone jacks that we're plugging and unplugging. This is, think back to the 1980s if you were even alive.
In the short term, the FAA says some fixes are on the way to Newark. There's a plan to install new, upgraded fiber optic tech connecting Newark to Philadelphia before the end of the summer. Those will replace the current copper wiring. Officials have also traced Monday's outage to a frayed copper wire. When radar outages happen and pilots lose contact with air traffic control, they continue on their flight path and communicate their position to other planes in the area.
Turning now to international news, new developments to report in Ukraine, Gaza, and other conflict zones around the world.
India and Pakistan agreed to a ceasefire over the weekend. Both sides have accused each other of breaking the deal, but it appears to be holding. The nuclear-armed neighbors have been in conflict over disputed territory, Kashmir, for decades. The conflict escalated last month after a terrorist attack in Kashmir, which killed 26 people. India blamed Pakistan, but Pakistan denied any involvement. In Gaza, a new humanitarian aid plan organized by the U.S. and Israel is set to be rolled out this week. Under the plan, food and medical sites will be set up and managed by private contractors. Palestinians will be screened to prevent Hamas from getting any access to the aid. The United Nations has rejected the initiative, saying it will lead to a choice between displacement and death. Russian President Vladimir Putin proposed direct peace talks with Ukraine. President Trump followed that up with a post on Truth Social, saying Ukraine should agree to this immediately. President Zelensky then said he's ready to meet Putin in Turkey later this week. Meanwhile, last week, Russia celebrated Victory Day in commemoration of World War II. Chinese President Xi Jinping was the guest of honor, signaling increasing ties between the two countries in their effort to counter the West.
Several European countries are holding key elections this month. That's happening as America's changing relationship with the European Union is influencing policies and alliances across the continent.
Far-right presidential candidate George Simeon won Romania's first round of elections last Sunday.
The Romanians love the American people, freedom, and President Donald Trump.
What is expected to be the second and final round of elections will take place on May 18th. The projected victory will be yet another move away from the center in an increasingly right-leaning Europe. That same day, Poland, Europe's biggest defense spender, is also holding its first round of presidential elections. Currently leading the polls is Liberal Rafał Trzaskowski, followed by nationalist candidate Karol Nawrocki, who met with President Trump earlier this month. In Germany, center-right candidate Friedrich Merz became chancellor last week, a victory against the country's far-right opposition. Merz said the U.S. was indispensable for Europe's security and has called on President Trump to eliminate tariffs.
Pope Leo XIV held his first news conference today. He called on journalists to restore calm to the media landscape and echoed his predecessor's pleas for a more peaceful world.
Dobbiamo dire no alla guerra delle parole, delle immagini. Dobbiamo respingere il paradigma della guerra.
The new pope has made news all around the world, so how are everyday New Yorkers reacting? We sent CJS reporter Alex Foster to Sunday Mass to find out.
It was the words heard after every conclave since the 15th century.
Habemus Papam.
But what came after was totally new for the Catholic Church. The new Pope, Leo XIV, was an American. Today, Catholics have just got out of St. Patrick's Cathedral, where they've been to the first Sunday service under the new Pope. And they're both excited and apprehensive.
I think I was just as surprised as anyone else that it was an American Pope.
I think my worry comes from not worrying about how the Pope would interact with our president, but how our president will interact with him.
But Dr. Miles Patterson, scholar of papal history at Oxford University, says the Pope wasn't picked because of the president.
You know, I think that Pope Leo was elected partly because, apart from him being American, he ticked all the boxes that the cardinals were probably looking for in advance. He had administrative competence, he has charisma, he's had a lifelong mission to the global poor.
And for Catholic priests in training like Mac Ahmed, an English-speaking pope is good news for spreading the word.
If you just happen to hear, God please, Leo XIV, speaking the word of God in language you understand, you might just catch it and you're like, oh, there's something there.
Cardinal Prevost may have been a son of the United States, but Pope Leo XIV has become the father for Catholics everywhere. From St. Patrick's Cathedral, Alex Foster, CJS News.
Opening statements are underway in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. The music mogul is facing accusations of racketeering and sex trafficking. CJS reporter Augustina Malus was inside the courtroom today and joins us live with the latest. Augustina?
I'm outside of the courtroom right now where the trial is taking place as we speak. This morning, prosecutors said that Sean Diddy Combs is the leader of a criminal network that abused women for decades. Combs' lawyers said that while he has abused women in the past, he is not the leader of a crime ring. In the federal racketeering and sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs, prosecutors will try to prove that Diddy is responsible for a pattern of abuse. Prosecutors are accusing Combs of running a criminal enterprise. He is being accused of using drugs, money, and intimidation to control women and force them to have sex at his parties.
The defense team is going to argue consent. In fact, consent is probably the only viable defense that they could bring up in this type of a case.
After a tense week of jury screening, the federal judge delayed selection on Friday over worries that some jurors might have had cold feet over the weekend. A full jury was put into place this morning, right before opening statements began. Prosecutors say they have video footage of Combs' parties, the freak-offs as he's referred to them, and those videos will likely be shown in the coming weeks. Jurors will also hear from women who say they've been abused by Combs. Live from Lower Manhattan, Augustina Malus, CJS News.
Thanks, Augustina. President Trump said he wants to reopen and expand Alcatraz, the infamous prison off the coast of San Francisco. CJS reporter Ali Jaswal has the story.
Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz.
Closed for over 6 decades, once housed some of America's most notorious criminals, including Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. Now, it's a popular tourist destination and National Historic Site. In a post on his Truth Social platform, the president said, "When we were a serious nation, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals," pointing to what he calls failures in the current justice system.
Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate.
Despite President's pledges to reduce federal spending, experts estimate that reactivating Alcatraz could cost between $235 to $370 million, raising questions about the fiscal practicality of the proposal. Meanwhile, New York's Governor Kathy Hochul has agreed to shut down up to 3 prisons over the next year, in an effort to rein in the state budget.
Thanks, Ali. Turning to news that impacts many of us here at the journalism school. The unemployment rate is the highest it's been in 4 years. CJS reporter Isabella Japal is live on campus with the story. Isabella?
Thanks, CJ. It's true. The 2025 graduates will be entering a tough job market. And business experts think it has to do with technology. In just 9 days, Columbia students will turn their tassels. But then what?
Like humanities jobs in particular, I feel like there's a lot of interest, but not necessarily a lot of supply.
Vicky Salemi, a career expert at Monster.com, a global online job board that connects employers and job seekers, says technology has eliminated certain jobs.
Some of these responsibilities or entry-level roles are being overtaken by technology. There may be less opportunities in certain areas.
Some international graduate students at Columbia say working in the U.S. has become increasingly tough, and they hope the degree gives them an edge.
If you're an international moving from another country to the U.S. without showing any kind of education or any sort of experience in this country, it's tough to land a job.
Columbia Business School student Madhura Banerjee says it's been especially hard for her peers to find jobs in the tech sector.
Tech has been pretty bad, which was quite huge earlier, a few years earlier. It's been pretty bad right now. I hardly think any of my classmates have internships have full-time jobs in tech.
Isabella, is there any advice for these graduates looking to get a job?
Vicky Salemi did share some advice. She advises new graduates to keep an open mind in their career search. Just because the opportunity isn't perfect doesn't mean they should say no.
Thanks, Isabella. Ileana?
Violence in city bodegas is a growing concern. Now city officials are rolling out a new safety measure. CJS reporter Jayla Everett is live in Harlem with the story. Jayla?
Thanks, Ileana. The mayor's office says it's working to protect workers on the front lines of city bodegas. This comes after just last week a series of fatal stabbings, including one here in Harlem.
After a series of violent attacks inside bodegas, the city plans to install panic buttons in up to 500 bodegas. Kalina Katani has worked in bodegas across all 5 boroughs.
There's a lot of people that need nighttime stores.
This button is going to help a lot of people.
Okatani and other bodega workers say they've seen it all.
Guys, you don't know what we've been through.
The panic buttons will cost $1.6 million to install, and Mayor Adams says it's money well spent.
To alarm the police, and it's going to be connected directly to the local precincts. When you do the combination, it's going to give you access to the cameras in the store to see what is taking place and how we can get an immediate response.
The city won't reveal which stores are getting panic buttons. Officials say that's a strategic move. Okatani says the secrecy and panic buttons themselves will help workers feel safer.
It's a pretty nice idea, especially for there's have been a lot of murders, especially in bodegas in New York.
Jayla, when will the city roll out these panic buttons?
Well, Ileana, we can expect to see the panic buttons rolled out in the coming months. The mayor's office confirmed just last week that the initiative will be funded through emergency grants. Back to you.
Thanks, Jayla. CJ?
And finally, CJS reporter Kiara Schmid takes us to a parade that almost didn't happen because its promised government funding was cut just a week before.
The Procession for Climate Solutions has been raising awareness for climate change for over 30 years.
My brother and I have lived in this neighborhood a long time. We always look forward to this every year.
The event features 21 performances in community gardens and parks across the Lower East Side. The artists celebrate Mother Nature in song and dance.
And she said, "Look at me, I'm a butterfly now. Got great wings and I can spread them wide."
Organizer Felicia Young pays the performers and other expenses with the help from a $10,000 grant from the National Endowment for the Arts. But about a week ago, the NEA canceled the grant.
The money was already spent. Outrageous.
At the last minute, the Warhol and Frankenthaler Foundations stepped in to cover the costs. The event went on, celebrating the important role of local community gardens.
I just hope everyone can find other foundations to come forward and support because we don't have the funds to cover the loss.
So, Kiara, why did the NEA cut these grants so abruptly?
Well, hundreds of NEA grants were cut last week, and that's because the projects apparently do not align with the president's priorities of, quote, reflecting the nation's rich artistic heritage and creativity.
So, is it a done deal?
No. Advocacy groups are currently fighting to keep the grants, but in the end, it will be up to the courts to decide if it was legal or not.
Thanks so much, Kiara. Before we go today, we have just one more thing. We'd like to invite two very special people to join us on set. One of them is our queen of the newsroom, the mentor who helped us become the broadcast journalists that we are today.
The other one has pushed us to be our best on camera, and you bet that sometimes we hear his booming voice in our sleep. Jamie Ron, would you please join us on the set? You're right, we did.
Congratulations, final show and an excellent one.
Thanks so much for being part of it and for training us and all the classmates that are behind the camera just as much. We have a very special surprise for you, don't we, Ileana?
We do, so really? Please sit back and enjoy the show. Now it starts.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
Jamie, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. Jamie, I love you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for making this year what it was and what it has been.
Thank you so much for contributing to our growth.
Thank you so much. Making sure my video newsroom experience wasn't trash.
Yeah. You're saying whatever you want as of right now.
Oh shit, now there's all this pressure on me.
Yeah, right.
Thank you to literally everybody in the equipment room, in the classroom, outside the classroom who volunteered to help our newscast every week, and even before then with technical difficulties, with all those late night pressured calls, for being patient when I was using the wrong shutter speed when I was recording the dog show package.
Right, right.
All of those things, and so many more. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for making me realize that like there's just like a small ounce of like on-camera talent that could be there. That could.
It is there, CJ.
I didn't realize that that was there, and thanks for bringing it out of me, and for also making me appreciate all the stuff that happens behind the camera just as much. And love all of you so much, and this is probably the most impactful class I've ever taken.
So why don't you show the back of it? I heard it's a little party in the back.
And thank you so much, Jamie, Ron, and Brett, for all of your support over the past semester. Jamie, you have been like a second mom to me this past. Is that too much? I hope not. Anyways, Jamie, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Brett, thank you for answering my frantic text about premiere late at night. Ron, thank you for being the best and showing, how much can happen with how, I can get a good anchor voice within a day. It's crazy. I love you all so much. Thank you so much. Signing off, Fiona. Who's next?
Thank you so much, Jamie, Ron, and Brett. Honestly, I don't know how we would have gotten through this whole thing without you. And it was just really awesome to have someone in our corner who was always rooting for us. I know you guys are always going to be our cheerleaders, and I'm going to miss you.
Aww. Jamie, thank you so much for literally teaching me everything I know about news, about broadcasting, about life. And thank you so much for supporting us and guiding us throughout this entire semester. Thank you, Brett, for all the technical support.
Love you, Brett.
And care. And thank you, Ron. You're strict, but that's what we need. And also thank you to all the newscast team that's helping us. Reporting live from Midtown, this is Eliana Xaris for You Know What It Is?
Hi, Ron and Jamie. I love you so much. Thank you for just being the most kind, welcoming people on the face of the planet. I don't know where I'd be without y'all, and I'm going to miss video newsroom.
Hi, Jamie, we love you so much. I can't imagine this semester without you. I feel like under your instruction I've grown so much, and you've given me such an inspiration to look up to, and you've supported us so much throughout the semester.
What she said. We are just so eternally grateful for everything you've taught us. We would not be the journalists we are today without you. Even though it's only been a few months, I think you can really say we're all ready to take on what's to come, and we're all just ready to start working. And it's because of you! So thank you so much, not just to Jamie, but to everyone involved, to Ron, to Brett, everyone in the crew.
To Dennis, to AJ, to Jim,
to Pedro!
We will remember all of this for the rest of our lives. Thank you so much for contributing to our growth.
And I'm glad if I could twin with anyone, I'm glad it's Jamie.
Aww.
Jamie, Ron, Brett.
Thank you guys so much for such a great semester. You guys are so supportive and so smart, and you helped us just kill it. It was great. Every week was fun, and now we're going off into the world, and we'll always think of you.
You have not only been such an incredible and amazing professor, but you've also been the most genuine, kind, caring human being to all of your students. It is so clear that you want us all to succeed, not just inside of the classroom, but also outside of the classroom. Thank you for the numerous opportunities. Thank you for working overtime, answering calls late at night, early morning, ensuring that we had everything we needed to get each newscast done. I just want to say that you have the sweetest daughter as well. She is so kind and so smart, and I hope that she succeeds in whatever she desires to do in the long run. Thank you so much to Brett for bestowing upon us all of your tech knowledge, your editing knowledge. We appreciate it so much. I know I did. And thank you so much to everyone behind the scenes, the equipment room staff. You guys are so epic. Thank you for letting me know that I could check out every 2 weeks, despite me continuously checking out weekly. I still appreciate that piece of knowledge. If I ever happen to come back and check out equipment, I will be renewing it online, like you've been telling me to for months now. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a great summer, and thank you so much for making this year what it was and what it has been. I couldn't have done any of it without
Action!
Jamie, Ron, Brett, thank you so much for making sure that my video newsroom experience wasn't trash. I've really had a really great time. It was fantastic to actually learn how to do video, and yeah, I'm just really grateful. This is like the third time we filmed it, so second. But yeah, thank you, and I'll keep in touch.
Oh yeah, we'll do some.
So Brett, rate the technicality of this video from 1 to 10.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have loved getting to know you all and getting to work with you all. This is such a special group.
It really is. It really is. And best of luck to you now in the so-called real world.
We were molded by good teachers.
It beckons. You're ready.
You need us, call us.
Always. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching CJS News. I'm CJ Haddad.
And I'm Ileana Xaris. See you here again next year with a new crew.
And I'm Ron Claiborne, and that's Jamie Roth Becker.
Bye.